There are those who say the British Empire failed in Afghanistan, the Soviet Empire failed in Afghanistan, and maybe the locals are just sitting out the American Empire.
Could be. Except this isn't the American Empire, the British Empire, or coalition empire. This is freedom's march. And freedom has had a way of taking hold in some of the places where people never given freedom a chance. And, you know, I believe in the universality of freedom. I believe everybody wants to live in a free society. I'm not surprised that an enemy that can't stand freedom is trying to shake our will. Osama bin Laden is still alive. I think that when they analyze Al-Qaeda, would see that Al-Qaeda is on the run. They made a declaration that they're going to have us, you know, to run parts of Iraq. We've routed them in Iraq. It's not to say that they're not still dangerous or want to come back, but they've been routed. They got driven out of their safe haven in Afghanistan. Are they lethal? You bet they're lethal. Should we worry about their plotting and planning and, you know, in places like America or Great Britain? Absolutely we should. But it's really hard to argue that Osama bin Laden and his movement are doing well.
Have you ordered a special effort to take him before you leave the White House?
Well, I said dead or alive right after September the 11th. It's an unfortunate statement I made. But inherent in that statement is our desire to bring him to justice.
Did you think it was an unfortunate statement when he used the Wild West language?
Tell the truth.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well, let me just say, when I got home, she made a few comments.
Why? Because it was just inappropriate? Or?
Well, I don't know why exactly. Just didn't sound serious, really, I think.
Well, because it makes it look like I like war. And I don't. And that's why. I mean, it's...
And it was the wrong message.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was unscripted. I spoke my mind, and, you know, it just sent the wrong signal. I didn't realize it at the time, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have sent it.
Another thing which is being suggested, coinciding with this visit, is that in Iraq, Britain and America are somehow going in different directions, that you've committed to the surge at a time when our new Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, is drawing down the troops. I mean, do you think we've drawn them down too quickly? No,
look, I am really appreciative of the relationship I have with Gordon Brown, and particularly on this issue. I mean, the worst thing allies can do is not communicate about our plans and our desires. We all want to take troops out of Iraq, and we are. But you're right, put more in for the surge. He, by the way, left a lot of troops in, more so than they thought they were going to leave in initially. And I have absolutely no problem with how Gordon Brown is managing the Iraqi effort.
This has been perhaps the most controversial presidency because of what happened on 9/11 and since, I think, certainly that I've ever covered. And there's been a lot of criticism of your husband and his administration, people saying, you know, this is the good riddance tour and the worst presidency ever and all that. I mean, that must have hurt a lot, you and your family.
Well, it does bother me, of course. Like everyone, you know, I hope my husband would be popular. You know, people want to be popular. But on the other hand, I know what he's really like. And I know how serious these times are for our country and for the world, and that he's made the very tough decisions that I think people would want their leader to make, and I know Americans appreciate.
I mean, has it been good for your marriage, 8 years in the White House?
It's been fine for our marriage.
Never been better.
We have a very good marriage, and we both have a lot of strength.
Yeah.
And believe me, these were years when you really needed to
well, I mean,
be
you're
really
in
strong.
Sri Blackhole with the goldfish bowl.
Let me say this to you about all this popularity stuff. First of all, popularity is fleeting. And I want it to be said about George W. Bush that when he finished his presidency, he looked in the mirror at a man who did not compromise his core principles for the sake of politics or the Gallup poll or the latest, you know, whatever. And you can't lead in this world if you're chasing something as temporary as a popularity poll.
Finally, what about the Bush family? We've had father and son in the White House. Is this the end? Or no?
Well, we got another one out there who did a fabulous job as governor of Florida, and that's Jeb. But, you know, you better ask him whether or not he's thinking about running. But he'd be a great president.
Would you advise the next generation to?
Sure, if they want to. I mean, it's, you know, this is an unbelievable life, a life of public service. And I think one of the reasons that George and his brother Jeb served in office is because they admired their father so much and saw how he was as a public servant.
So he's not the last Bush.
Well, who knows? We'll see.
I'd recommend when I'm running. It's been a fabulous life. Just remember, there's 6 months to go, and a lot can get done in 6 months.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
indeed.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
A real pleasure.